survived last night. How was last night, by the way? Amazing. Amazing. Guys, it is such an honor and such a privilege to be here today. It's really funny. The Thrive team, Sonia and Cole, they were emailing my team for weeks saying, Regan, can you please send us your talk topic? We'd love to know what you're going to say. And I kept stalling them because I really wanted to actually hang out with you guys and feel you guys. And I've had so many conversations in the back of the room and in the corridor. And I've been asking people, I've been saying, what's your dream? Why are you here? And I tell you what, I've been a little bit blown away by the answers I received back. And I sat down after the first day and I thought, how can I best serve these guys? How can I come here and how can I shake them up and how can I give them permission to think a little bit differently? And so I came here today to do exactly that. I came here today to disrupt your reality a little bit. And I came here today to allow you to imagine that some things that you thought weren't possible potentially are. And specifically, I came here today to give you permission, if you need it, to manifest a 7-figure income or more. Would that be a good thing? It sounds like I'm in the right room. So here's the thing, guys. I'll share a little bit of my story and then we'll get straight into it. But there's a few things that I believe about life. And we're going to talk a lot about beliefs today and how they work. And you can choose to borrow some of these beliefs if you so choose. You see, I believe that making money is easy. I believe that it's fun. I believe that the more you make, the more you can give, and the more good you can do in this world. And I know that every single person in this room believes that also, because I saw your thumbprints. I saw each and every single one of you commit to making money matter. And here's the thing, that's all well and good, but you do need to actually make the money to make the money matter, right? Agreed? Who's with me on that? It's like, hey, I actually need to do this in order to then give and contribute and do all these good things. So that's what we're going to dig into today. We're going to dig into manifestation. Everyone say manifestation. Manifestation. Right? We're going to talk about shifting your external reality and creating a life that's barely recognizable for you. We're going to talk about tapping into the power that you have within you so that you can turn around and literally go 3 months, 6 months, 12 months out. Wow, is this really my life? You see, if you guys follow me on Facebook or any social media, you'll probably see that I travel the world, have a multi-7-figure business, I get to stay in really, really, really cool places and hang out with absolutely amazing people that are making a massive impact and changing the world. But I say to people, I didn't start out like that. I wasn't born, sitting in a tropical location by a pool with a laptop just making money as a baby. Like, it didn't happen like that, right? There was a journey along the way. Would you guys like to hear a little bit about that and how I got here today? Yeah? Are you sure? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So, here's the thing. I grew up in Auckland, New Zealand. And I was actually doing an interview yesterday, and the guy asked me, was your family into this stuff? Do they, are they hardcore into manifestation and business? And I said, look, not really, to be honest. They're incredible, they're beautiful, but they very much believed in following the system. They believed in me working really, really hard, going to school, getting good grades, going to college or university, then potentially getting a job for the rest of my life, and hopefully finding some satisfaction and enjoyment along the way. Who was brought up in that system or was expected to be in that system, right? And so that's exactly what I did. I knew nothing better. And my dad always said to me, if I had the opportunity you had, if I could go to college or university, I would have been an architect. And so I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So I thought, well, architecture must be the thing. And so I dived into that, I did what I was told. I worked really, really, really hard. And I remember this one day, and this new lecturer walked into the room, and I was sitting there taking notes, and he stood up and he said something along the lines of, welcome future architects, welcome to your future. And he said, I want you to do a visualization exercise, and we're going to take you out, and we're going to picture your life 20 years out from now as the architect you were born to be. And I sat there, and I literally felt sick to my stomach with what I saw. Literally. And I kind of had one of those moments where your mind kind of disconnects from your body, and I felt my body just get up and run. And I ran out the door, and I knew in that moment that I had to take control of my life. And it was like I was in a trance. I picked up my mobile phone and I dialed my dad, right? I was in Australia at the time, he was in New Zealand. And I remember the phone ringing, and it's like it was an eternity until he answered. And he finally answered the phone, and I kind of muttered and stuttered, and there were tears, and I said, Dad, I can't do this. It's not my truth. It's not what I'm put here to do in this world. You know, I can't be an architect. I'm not going to do it. And to my surprise, my dad said, okay, babe, well, I support you. I was like, really? He said, yeah, look, at the end of the day, I want you to be happy. Of course I want you to be happy. I was like, wow, okay. And then he said to me, so Regan, what are you going to do? I was like, just give me a minute. Who else has been in a situation where they're so clear on what they don't want to do, but they have no idea what the rest of it looks like, right? That was me. That was me. And look, that's what threw me into the world of personal development. I went home that day and I got on Google, Dr. Google, right? How do I fix my life? And I started Googling, how do I quit my 9-to-5 job? I didn't even have a 9-to-5 job. I was trying to get out of it, right? And I came across an ebook, which led me to a self-made multi-millionaire in Australia, which led me to his first 4-day wealth creation event. And I sat in the room and there were all these speakers and I was massively overwhelmed, but very excited. And that's when I went all in. I started borrowing money I didn't have. I got into over $100,000 worth of personal debt and credit card loans just to try and figure this stuff out. And I was doing everything under the sun. I was like, okay, wow, there's actually a way to create freedom and live a great life and help people. Okay, how do I invest in property? How do I start a business? How do I learn sales and marketing? I was doing all of it. And the crazy thing was, guys, I was so far into debt and my life kind of still looked the same. And there was a man that I was working with, a mentor, a coach, and I remember saying to him, his name was Simon, and I was saying, Si, you know what? Maybe I'm not cut out for this. You know, maybe I'm not meant to be successful. Maybe that's for the other people. Maybe I should have been an architect. Maybe I should just have a job. And he turned around and he looked at me and he laughed at me in my face. Literally. I was like, okay, that's not kind. I'm sitting here, recently and mildly distressed, right? And you laugh at me. And he said, look, Regan, stop. He said, you've got it all backwards. He said, you don't know the 80-20 rule. I said, what do you mean? He said, exactly. He said, look, Regan, and you guys should all write this down. He said, success is 80% your inner game and 20% what you do on the outside. And then he said, how much are you doing on the 80% right now? I was like, well, he's like, exactly. And that's when I started investing in me. And I went nuts on that too. And I started learning NLP. I delved deep into hypnosis. I got obsessed with matrix energetics and energy work and so much in that realm. And sure enough, everything started to shift. I actually started seeing results in my life. And people started coming to me and saying, Regan, you look happier. You know, what's going on? I've seen you starting businesses. You're starting to make money. Like, how are you doing this? And I started telling them, we should do this and stop doing that and don't do that. And that's when the very first time, that was when I very, very, very felt a sense of purpose. Because not only was I helping people, they were then coming back to me. And they were saying, thank you so much. You know, that one thing you told me, it shifted my thinking and it allowed me to go and do this. And so that's when I started working with people one-on-one. Okay? And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But ultimately, I built myself a job. I was on the phone each and every single day, coaching people back to back. And I thought to myself, there must be a way to create some more leverage in this. This is getting a little bit crazy. I want to help more people, earn more so I can give more, but I was capped. So that's when I started speaking through Australia and New Zealand. I thought, okay, well, if I can speak to 50 people over 1 hour instead of taking 50 hours to talk to 50 people, that seems smart. And I thought, well, where should I speak? Well, I don't really know any stages I can crawl up onto, so I started filling my own rooms. Now, I grew that business to $1 million a year business. And on the outside, everyone kept saying, wow, you've done so well, you're so successful, you must be so happy. And I was. I was like 99% happy. And it's funny because I didn't even realize it. I thought I was 100% happy. And I'll never forget, I was standing outside this room, and there were about 25, 30 people in there, and they'd each invested thousands of dollars to come and hear me speak for a couple of days. And I remember standing outside the room and reaching my hand out to open the door to go in to speak to these guys, and I felt that same sickly feeling in my stomach again. And I thought, I know this feeling. This feeling's back. And I had no idea why it was there. I was telling myself, I should just be grateful for what I've achieved. So many people would kill to be in my position. What's wrong with me? I went in and I fulfilled the room. And after that, I went to Bali, which is a little bit closer than it is here. It's not that far away. It was a short plane ride. I went to Bali for a few weeks, and I committed to figuring out what that feeling was. And after a whole lot of self-discovery, I worked out a few things. I worked out that just because I was making money, that really wasn't what it was all about. And I worked out that I'd been hiding behind brands and not truly stepping into my truth of what I know. And I also figured out that I wanted to help a whole lot more people than what I was helping in those rooms. And so I sat down, and once again I decided to do some things differently. And I knew a few things by that time. I knew that my external reality was created from within. I knew that the game was 80% what I was going to do in here, and then 20% the action that I took on the outside. And I knew that ultimately, if I wanted to manifest anything, I could. Because manifestation's our natural state, guys. It really is. And so what I wanted to share with you today is the exact process that I went through when I was pulling myself back into alignment. The exact process where I was committed to playing a bigger game and really break you through the internal reality of what I took myself through so that I could create a multi-seven-figure business that in the last couple of months actually did its first seven-figure month. Would that be a cool thing to know? Yeah? So let's pull these slides up, guys, if we can. Awesome. So seven-figure manifestation. Now, what I want you to know is that this internal process I'm going to step you through can be used in multiple different ways for multiple different outcomes. Yes, we can use it with money. Yes, we're going to talk about it from the frame of money. But if you want to create anything in your life, this is going to be the same process. This is the same process which allowed me to create my first 6 figures, first 7 figures, and first 7-figure month, okay? So it's the same process, it's just the work changes each and every single time. So, sound good? Okay, let's get started. First things first, locking in your vision. Guys, I truly believe that so many people never actually achieve what they desire and want in their life because they never actually decide what they want. I was talking to people outside and I was like, what's your vision? What's your dream? And they were like, oh, Regan, I want to give more and I want to be financially free. And I'm like, financially free? But how much money is that? And they're like, oh, no, just lots of money, more money. I'm like, well, if I give you like $10, are you financially free? They're like, no, Regan. I'm like, well, $1,000? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, how much? People don't actually quantify what they want. And so I'm going to give you guys some soul work to do. And for the sake of time, I'm going to have you do it outside of the room after this event instead of sitting here in silence while you guys do that. Would that be better value, right? Yeah, but you guys have to promise to do it. Yes? Okay, good. And so here's the thing. When most people come to their vision, they simply go, okay, what do I want? And they pluck a number from the sky. And more often than not, they say, well, $1 million, right? Now here's what's kind of crazy. Is that they often pick a figure or a vision as a part of their vision rather, that is not actually truly in alignment with their truth. Now, what I mean by that is that if you're not emotionally connected and if you don't have a really, really, really good reason for manifesting the money, it's not going to show up. Find me one successful person who's doing 7 or multi-7 figures or beyond, where you say, why did you do it? And they go, oh, no, I just picked a number, I thought it'd be fun. Doesn't happen, right? Doesn't happen. So one of the ways I love to do this around money is to actually say, well, why do I want this money? And how much of this money do I really need to make this dream happen? And it's going to look different for each of you. It's going to look different, but it might be a matter of sitting down and going, well, you know what? I really want to go on this holiday, and I really want to give this back to my family, and I really want to donate exactly this much to this chosen charity. And then what you do is you add up the figure, and then you have a figure, you have a number. And if you don't know what these things cost, let's say it's a plane, for example, get on Google, look at the plane, look at the house, figure out what it is. And then all of a sudden what you have is you have a figure, but you have an aligned figure. You have a figure that's emotionally connected to what you're looking to call in. Does this make sense to you guys? Okay, so you need to do this, and you need to get in total clarity with it. And here's one of the massive things. Here's where I see people stuff it up when it comes to money. They simply focus on the money. They say, okay, here's my money vision, isn't it awesome? And they forget about their family, and their relationships, and their health, and everything else. And you might think, well, Regan, my family, my relationships, my health are awesome, so I don't need to include that. Well, here's the thing. I've seen a lot of people manifest the money they want at a great cost. All of a sudden, their health goes down the drain. They start to become overweight. They lose their energy. They sabotage their relationships. Right? Who's seen this, by the way? It's because they're not intentional about what they're calling in. So I encourage you to get clear on what you're calling in, what you're focusing on, but do it in a holistic way, okay? Now, the other key with this, guys, is that you always need to make sure that you're locking in your vision in the here and the now, okay? It's not enough to say, I hope and I wish and I pray that in the future, sometime maybe, this will be my reality. Because guess where it's always going to be? In the future, right? Versus writing it out as if it's done now. I'm so happy and grateful that this is my reality. I'm so happy and grateful I'm already manifesting 7 figures. I'm so happy and grateful I just paid for that thing for my family. Can you guys see the difference? Yes? Yeah. Something magical happens when you start living into this. And all of a sudden, you get into almost this dream state where your dream starts becoming forward into your reality, and all of a sudden it's almost like you can't feel the difference between your reality and your vision, and it starts to fuse together, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're living into that vision. But it starts within. It starts from getting total clarity on this. So the soul work for you guys to do is to write down a question that I want you to answer. Now, I don't really care how you do this. I love journaling. I love writing. That's awesome. You can do this through journaling, through visualization, through meditation. I don't really care how you do it. Just do it, right? So the question to answer quite simply is, if I was to be truly living my big vision in total alignment, what would be going on? Okay? If I was to be living my big vision in total alignment, what would be going on? And that's, remember, it's going to be in the present. Well, you know what? I'm so happy and grateful that this happens, and that happens, and this happens, and that happens. And you start getting clear on that. Is this making sense to everyone? Yes? Okay, perfect. Let's keep firing on. Next thing we need to do is we need to increase your capacity to receive. Everyone say receive. Who'd love to be receiving more, by the way? Right? See, I see people screw it up at this point too. Because I know a lot of visionaries that have a massive vision and they go, wow, you know what, this is my vision, I'm so excited. And they do the practice, they just share with you guys and they start calling it in, but they hit a cap. And they realize all of a sudden that, wow, okay, there's only so much I can receive. Who's done this with money, for example, where you kind of earn the same amount regardless of what you do, right? Hands up high. Awesome. So what's interesting is that you can very easily start shifting this. And the moment you realize that, wow, actually I'm just a vessel and I'm just a container and money's just energy, and I just need to increase my capacity to be a container for money to shift through me and then flow out of me. As soon as you realize that, all of a sudden you're in control of playing in this way. So how I love to do this, quite simply, is I start looking at, okay, firstly, what was the vision in step number 1? What is that vision? And then starting to realize that, you know what? I can't manifest that vision if I can't see what's on the other side of it. Guys, your unconscious mind is wired to keep you safe. It's wired to keep you safe. And we need it to keep you safe. We really do. Because otherwise you'd see a cliff and then just walk off the edge of it, right? We need it to protect you. But it doesn't serve you when it's keeping you in your comfort zone. Because is that where you grow? No, right? So what we can start doing is we start taking your vision in step number 1 and we start looking at, well, what is actually beyond that vision? So the question to ask yourself quite simply is this. If that vision that you just wrote down in step number 1 was already my reality, what would my vision be? Because I'll promise you that if that vision is a reality, you're not going to have the same goal. You're not going to have the same vision. If you're doing 100 grand is not the goal. Make sense? Right, so all of a sudden, your mind starts seeing more. You start seeing what is on the other side of what you're looking to call in. And then what happens, something magical happens, is that your whole system and your whole unconscious starts going, wow, hang on, I get this. This big vision that we just did in step number 1, that's just a stepping stone. That's done and dusted. That's just a little piece along the way to get me to this next place of where I truly am going. Can you guys see the power in this? Right? So all of a sudden, you start increasing your capacity to hold energetically the money which is flowing through you. Okay. Did everyone get the question to write down, right? If my big vision was already reality, what would my big vision be? Okay. Next thing, rewiring your beliefs. You've heard so many speakers say this over the last couple of days. You know, if you think it's going to happen, it will. And if you think it's not, it won't. Very, very, very simple. So you can be a visionary. You can have the best vision in the world. You can increase it. You can go, you know what, here's my vision beyond the vision. But if you don't have a belief system which is in alignment to where you're headed, you're going to stay right where you are. Now, I see this with money so often. People write in their journals, millions of dollars. They tell their friends, I want to be a millionaire. All this stuff happens. But their internal belief isn't wired to that. So we firstly need to realize, well, what's going on under the surface? You see, you can only create change if you're consciously aware of what needs to change. You have your conscious mind, your unconscious mind. What happens unconsciously is we have these beliefs that sit under the surface and they're in control. They're shifting your reality. They're moving you. They're shaking you without you even realizing. But something beautiful happens when you start looking and you go, okay, I have this belief, and let's pull it to the surface, and let's look at it, and let's shake it apart, and let's say, you know what if I was to choose to think something differently? Because at the end of the day, guys, beliefs are just thoughts. They're just thoughts. And the majority of the time, they're not even your thoughts, right? They're thoughts from your family, from society, from other people's beliefs which have been inflicted upon you, which at some point in time, you've chosen to embody unconsciously or consciously. So it's a matter of really looking at, okay, what do I believe about myself? What do I believe about money? If you believe making $1 million is hard, guess what? Good luck, it will be. If you believe it's easy and that it's your birthright, then of course it will be. Now this is not a magic pill, right? This is not just like, I sat there with Regan and then afterwards I wrote 20 new beliefs and now my belief system's good. No, this is the daily affirmation of that. This is the daily work. This is the daily practice. This is really tuning in and being committed to do this internal rewiring until you get to a point where you feel like you don't even need to write it down. And that's when you know it's shifted. I mean, who here sits down and writes, the sky is blue, I believe the sky is blue, I believe the sky... You just don't do it, right? You're like, of course it's blue. Of course making money is easy. Of course I'm going to play a massive game. Of course I'm going to make millions of dollars. Duh. Right? You guys get it. Okay, let's talk about resistance. Sonia spoke to fear so beautifully, and I loved how she said it's from the past memories and the past experiences. And there are also so many other beliefs and resistances which can hold people back. Now, firstly, we have the limiting beliefs, which we just talked about, right? You have fear, where literally it's a very, very, very real thing. I have people all the time, guys, say to me, you know what, Regan, you're so lucky, you're so confident, you must never feel scared. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm scared all the time. I just know how to handle the fear. So whenever it comes to resistance, it's not about removing it. It's not about becoming fearless. It's not about being this robot that just moves through life and has no emotions. No, it's about being beautifully human. And And it's about acknowledging it. And it's about going, you know what? I feel scared right now. And that's okay. But how quickly can you learn to dance with it? How quickly can you stare it in the eye and say, you know what? Fear, I'm in the driver's seat. I want you guys to picture literally like you are in a car and you're driving towards your vision, and beyond your vision you can see your vision beyond your vision, and you're like, okay, I'm going for it. And then all of a sudden you realize fear's in the back seat. And fear starts to creep on forward, and fear starts to suffocate you so you can't breathe or cover your eyes. And then you're going, okay, cool, I just want to drive. No, you've got a choice. You can either get out of the car, you can give up, and you can say, it was so scary. Or you can continue to drive towards your vision. And you can say, fear, you know what, I respect you trying to keep me safe, but I've got this. Get in the back seat. Who's with me on that? Make sense? Alright. Shifting your identity. Now here's what I love about this. If you haven't realized, you guys can choose to be any version of yourself each and every single day. I've spoken to so many people, and I love talking to multimillionaires, I love talking to billionaires, I love saying, you know what, how did you do it? And so many times the answer comes out in some way, like, well, I kind of just decided this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. And so the cool thing to know is that you can bring any version of yourself to the table each and every single day. So you can choose to wake up and go, oh, I'm kind of new at this, and I'll try my best and we'll see how I go. Or you can go, you know what, I'm new at this, but I choose to be a multimillionaire. I choose to make a massive impact in this world. I choose to make my money matter. I choose to give back in ways that surprise other people. I choose to be powerful. I choose to be strong. I choose to be an influencer. You can choose whatever you desire. Right? But until you choose that, the world is not going to react around you. Is this making sense to you guys? Do you get this? So I invite you to have a conversation with yourself after this, quite simply. Who do you choose to be? Who do you choose to be in this world? Knowing that you can be anything you desire, but it starts with you. And I want you to get into detail with it. I want you to really look at, how does this version of you move about the world? How does this version of you talk? How does this version of you actually get into this place where you look at what you tolerate in your life? And what does this version of you not tolerate anymore? What kind of people do you surround yourself with? What do you say yes to? What do you say no to and run away from? All of these are choices. Okay? Who commits to going away and doing the work on this? Yeah, give yourself some love. Alright. We're going to speed this along. Raising your vibration. Right. The biggest thing you guys need to know is that money is energy. Okay, money is energy. And you can't attract anything into your life unless you are vibrating at the same frequency as that thing. Right? So you need to literally be in the highest vibration that you can handle each and every single day. I feel like society knows this in terms of the basics, right? Where they say, if you wake up and you stub your toe and then you drive to work and you have a car accident, you're just like, and it's like the rest of the day is kind of shit, right? People get that. Oh, I got in a bad vibe, I stayed in a bad vibe. Now, I want you to kind of blow that out in a bigger way when it comes to money. And I want you to look at what vibration are you choosing to be in each and every single day. And I encourage you to shift your vibration. And there's so many different ways to do this. Myself and my partner take people deep into the jungle into Peru for 9 days, and we shift their vibration literally for 9 days. That's all we do. So there's a lot of different extreme things you can do. But right now, quite simply, ask yourself, who am I surrounding myself with? Who's been around low vibe people before? Right? It's not fun, right? Why choose to be around them? And I love that each and every single one of you here have chosen to be in a high vibe state. You've chosen to bring your energy. You've chosen to get up early and be in this room and sit next to amazing people that are making a difference in the world. And I tell you what, environment has a profound effect on you. And you know what? I've been to a lot of events, a lot of courses, and I've been sitting in this room. I've watched nearly every speaker. And I've been letting myself shift at a true level of vibration, at a cellular level through this whole event. Who else here has got a cellular change in their body just by being in the room? Right, you guys get it. And I came into this space and I thought, okay, I'm already making money and I feel like I'm already making money matter, and we contribute a cool percent to charities and causes that we care about, and we help kids in India and build schools. And I've been sitting there thinking, what can I do more? What can I do more? And I was so inspired by Cole and his story, and I was sitting in the audience and I thought, what else can I do? And something shifted in me at a cellular level yesterday, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to continue speaking. I'm going to continue to do keynotes. I'm going to continue to take a fee, and I choose now to play at this level where I donate 100% of that to causes that I care about. Thank you. And I'm not saying that to go, yay, for me, or anything like that, but I'm letting you guys know that is the power of environment. From someone thinking they were already kind of there doing that stuff, to simply being in this environment, it raised my vibration. And that's exactly what you guys are doing. And I was so proud of each and every single one of you when you put those thumbprints on those pieces of paper yesterday. Because I know you guys get it. Okay. Last thing. 80% psychology, 20% what you do on the outside. That was not 100% psychology and 20% what you do on the outside. Please do not be one of those people that sits there in your home all day and meditates and visualizes and really just hopes and wishes and prays that it's all going to show up. It doesn't work. You have to do the work. And yes, you can do the work from a place of ease and a place of flow, and yes, you can do the work in a place where it's totally play and it's fun and it's connected to your purpose and it's in alignment, but you have to do the 20%. Now, I'm all about receiving more and doing less. Does that sound like a good idea, by the way, for anyone, right? I'm all about it. You'll be the first to hear me talk about it. I don't believe in the hustle. I don't believe in working really, really, really hard, but you must take massive aligned action. And the key word in this is aligned. So I don't believe in being busy just for the sake of being busy. I believe in doing what counts, which is going to drive you forward. So very simply, you need to start looking at what are you doing and is it in alignment with your vision? So a huge part of manifestation, guys, is to release the process of how it's going to happen. You cannot manifest at a high level if you're sitting there going, okay, well, I'm going to manifest this, but it has to happen like this and this and that and that and that, and it must do this way through this conversation with that person. You guys are all master manifestors. Think about one thing you've manifested, even coming to this event. Chances are it's because you said something that triggered something in someone, and someone said something to you, and there's a conversation here. It's because you went to that event. If you hadn't met that person, you wouldn't be here, right? And it's like you stack up these events, and it's like, well, hang on. I'm not really in control of this process, am I? What am I in control of? I'm in control of showing up. I'm in control of doing the internal work. I'm in control of getting into a place where I'm taking intentional action to drive me forward. So in order to take massive action in an aligned way, where you surrender to what is coming through you and release the how, the question to answer is this. Knowing that what I'm manifesting is already done, what can I do right now to accelerate the process? Okay, what can I do right now to accelerate the process? What do most people ask themselves? They simply ask themselves, what do I do to make it happen? What's the perfect strategy? Right? But instead, the moment you release that and you actually go, the world is co-creating with me and through me, and I'm not actually responsible for the entire world and everything that's going on, but I am responsible for showing up. How can I accelerate the process? And that's when you sit down and you're like, well, I'd be doing this. I'd call this person. I'd invest in this mentor. I'd do this thing. I'd attend Thrive again. I'd join Cole's Mastermind. I'd do this. 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 And then it's like, okay, what do I commit to right now? 3 things. You circle them, and then you act from that place. Is this making sense to you guys? Yeah. Okay. Who feels a little bit of relief, by the way, of like, I don't have to do anything. I can actually just act from this place and massively accelerate my vision forward. Yeah, you guys getting it? Amazing. I can see like 3 rows of you, so I hope everyone else is. Amazing. So, guys, they're going to kick me off the stage real soon. We're going to lock in your vision. We're going to increase your capacity to receive. You're then going to rewire your belief system, staring that resistance in the eye, learning to dance with everything that has been holding you back, shifting your identity, calling in the higher version of you, committing to raising your vibration, and of course taking massive aligned action along the way. So guys, I came here today to shake up your reality a little bit, and I came here today to remind you of your potential. And I came here today to quite simply let you know that anything you desire to manifest exist, is possible, and it can be a reality. I'm beyond impressed with you guys. I'm beyond impressed that you guys are committed to making money matter. Out of all the stages I've spoken on, I've felt the most responsibility to serve here because I feel the power in this room. I love you. I respect you. Thank you so much.